You wake up. Before your feet even touch the floor, your hand reaches for something. Your phone. You check the time, the weather, a message that arrived while you were asleep. It feels like the first habit of the modern world. But it isn't. Long before clocks, before smartphones, before electricity, or even written language, your ancestors began every morning with a ritual they almost never skipped. They looked around. They listened. They checked whether the world had changed while they slept. Thousands of generations later, you're still doing the same thing, just in a different way. So why does your brain begin almost every day by searching for information? The first rays of sunlight slipped through the trees as a small camp slowly came to life. Smoke drifted upward from the dying embers of last night's fire. The air smelled of damp earth and burnt wood. Somewhere beyond the camp, birds filled the morning with sharp, unfamiliar calls. An elderly hunter opened his eyes. He didn't stand immediately. Instead, he listened. The crackling fire, children breathing nearby, the distant sound of flowing water. Nothing unusual. Only then did he sit up. His eyes swept slowly across the camp. Everyone seemed to be there. The fire still burned. No fresh footprints crossed the soft ground around them. Only after checking everything did he rise to begin the day. To someone watching from the future, those few quiet moments might seem meaningless. They weren't. They were survival. For ancient humans, every sunrise came with uncertainty. Had predators wandered through the camp during the night? Had another group passed nearby? Did yesterday's river become deeper after heavy rain? Had the herd they were following already moved on? The world could change while they slept. The first task each morning wasn't eating. It wasn't hunting. It was gathering information. A person who noticed change early often had more time to respond. And in nature, time can be the difference between life and death. The old hunter walked toward the edge of the clearing. He knelt beside the soft mud where they had entered camp the evening before. Fresh tracks crossed the ground. Not human. Deer. The animals had passed only a few hours earlier. The hunters exchanged quiet smiles. Breakfast had just become much more likely. A young boy watched closely. "How do you know they're fresh?" he asked. The old hunter pointed toward the edges of the hoofprints. "The wind hasn't touched them yet." The boy looked again. Now he could see it. Knowledge like this couldn't be learned from books. It lived in observation. Generation after generation, children learned to notice tiny details that most people today would never even see. A bent blade of grass, broken twigs, birds suddenly falling silent, fresh animal droppings still warm from the morning. None of these details mattered alone. Together, they revealed a story. Long before writing, humans became experts at reading landscapes. Our brains evolved in environments where missing important information carried enormous consequences. Natural selection rewarded individuals who noticed subtle changes before others did. That ancient habit didn't disappear when cities appeared. It simply found new things to watch. Instead of scanning forests, we scan notifications. Instead of checking animal tracks, we check headlines. Instead of listening for predators, we listen for breaking news, phone alerts, and unfamiliar sounds outside our homes. The object has changed. The instinct hasn't. Psychologists call part of this tendency vigilance, the habit of continuously monitoring the environment for changes that might matter. In moderation, vigilance helps us adapt. Too much of it, however, can become anxiety. The same brain that once searched the horizon for danger now refreshes email every few minutes or checks social media without even realizing it. Our ancient survival system is still doing its job. It's simply responding to a very different world. As the hunting party followed the fresh tracks into the forest, the young boy walked beside the old hunter. At first, he noticed nothing. Just trees, leaves, sunlight. But after an hour, he began seeing what the old hunter saw. A branch rubbed smooth where deer passed regularly. Fresh claw marks on a tree left by a bear searching for insects. Small birds suddenly taking flight together. "Stop," the old hunter whispered. Everyone froze. The forest had become strangely quiet. Moments earlier it had echoed with birdsong. Now, nothing. The old hunter slowly raised his spear. He wasn't reacting to what he heard. He was reacting to what he didn't hear. Sometimes silence carries more information than noise. Modern neuroscience tells us the human brain is constantly making predictions about the world around us. When something breaks those predictions, our attention immediately shifts. An unexpected silence, a sudden movement, A phone vibrating when you weren't expecting a message. Your brain treats each as potentially important. This ability helped our ancestors survive uncertain environments. It still shapes your attention today. Hours later, the hunters returned with food. Children celebrated. The camp became lively once again. That evening, as everyone gathered around the fire, the young boy asked another question. Will I always have to look so carefully? The old hunter smiled. One day, you won't even notice you're doing it. He was right. Thousands of generations later, most of us begin each morning by checking something. The weather, our calendar, the news, a message, the front door, the crying of a baby, the family dog waiting by the bed. We call it routine. Our ancestors would have called it survival. Tonight, before you go to sleep, think about what you'll do tomorrow morning. Chances are, before breakfast, before conversation, before your first cup of coffee, you'll search for information. Not because your phone trained you to, but because your mind was shaped in a world where every new day began with a simple question: what changed while I was asleep? That question has echoed through human history for hundreds of thousands of years. Today, the answers arrive through glowing screens instead of footprints in the mud. But the habit, the instinct, the quiet need to know what happened before we take our next step is one of the oldest parts of being human.